Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. So today I'm going over the two Senate races in Georgia, and I kind of want to talk about some recent polls that have come out and how the races are looking pretty much how I thought they would look. So before I get into the polls, I just want to show you what the results were on election night for the two Senate races in Georgia. So David Perdue versus John Ossoff. David Perdue got 49.7% of the vote. So David Perdue, percentage-wise and vote-wise, actually overperformed President Trump slightly. And David Perdue almost won. However, in Georgia, the rule is you need more than 50% of the vote to win. So if you don't have 50% of the vote, then the two candidates who got the most amount of votes go to a runoff, which is why we have two runoff elections, because neither candidate, neither race got over 50%. And David Perdue did come very, very close, only missing that target by 0.3%. However, it is not enough, so they have to go to a runoff. John Ossoff got 47.9%, and Libertarian candidate Hazel, I'm not sure about their person's first name, but Hazel got 2.3%. So that's a David Perdue versus John Ossoff race. Now I will show you the special election race. Raphael Warnock got 32.9%. He technically won the election runoff for the Democrats because Kelly Loeffler was running against Republican Doug Collins, and Doug Collins put a very, very big primary challenge. And one of my predictions, I had Doug Collins actually winning for a while. So Kelly Loeffler was able to win, but Doug Collins took 20% from her. That would have been 45.9. So Kelly Loeffler would have won if Doug Collins was on the primary. But nevertheless, Warnock and Loeffler both advanced, and there was a lot of undecideds in this race since it was an open seat and open primary. There were more candidates, so there were more open gaps of votes that need to be made up. So now we go to the David Perdue versus John Ossoff. It is very, very close. I did a video about a week or two ago, now maybe a few weeks ago, going over these two races, and so far, in my view, it's shaping up exactly how I thought it would be. We have Republican polls saying that the Republicans are ahead. We have the Democratic polls saying the Democrats are either tied or ahead. And the polls, who I think are doing a pretty good job, are splitting it down the middle and saying either Republicans or Democrats are up by 1%. And I really think that this race and the other race are very, very close. However, I do think David Perdue does still have a slight edge in this race. The early data that has come out has not shown too much, just that enthusiasm is very, very high. And in a runoff election that typically favors Democrats, that there's high turnout. However, I'm still confident that David Perdue, given he almost got 50% on election night, and Republicans typically turn out to runoffs more, I'm confident that David Perdue will win. I think at a maximum, though, David Perdue will win by 2% or 2.5% at a max. I think this race is very, very close. David Perdue's got 49. John Ossoff's got 48.3. The maximum I could see David Perdue reaching at this time is around 51%, maybe 52%, but that's kind of pushing it. I do not see either one of these races getting into a blowout category. Whoever wins is going to be by a nail biter. It's going to be very, very close. Now, also, I want to show you the Kelly Loeffler versus Raphael Warnock race. This race is very close. In the polls, Raphael Warnock's actually leading the polls. But you can see 48.8 to 48.3, whereas this one's 49 to 48.3. So more Republicans, not by a lot, but 0.7% of Republicans have made up their mind about David Perdue more than Kelly Loeffler. David Perdue is more popular than Kelly Loeffler. He does get people more excited to vote than Kelly Loeffler does. That could be a concern for Republicans. However, I do think, like the other race, Republican polls show Kelly Loeffler up. Democratic polls show Raphael Warnock up. The polls that are doing a really good job in this race are showing it to be a 1-point race or a tied race. That's what I think this one is. I think this is the closer of the two races. I know I've heard some things saying, well, trust me, if one race goes one way, the other will go the exact same way. So if Perdue wins, Loeffler will win. If Warnock wins, then Ossoff will win. We'll have to wait and see on election night, but I think it's very hard to argue with the fact Warnock versus Loeffler, this is the close race. Make no mistake. Kelly Loeffler is not as popular as David Perdue. However, a lot of stuff's been coming up against Raphael Warnock that a lot of Republican strategists and pollsters have been using as kind of like attack ammo on him. So maybe that's hurting Raphael Warnock, but don't forget Kelly Loeffler is not the most popular Republican either. And right now, with everything going on in Georgia, with Governor Kemp and everything, the Republican Party and state GOP in Georgia is not looking so great right now. So that also could have a down ballot effect on these two races where people might be upset and they don't want to go vote. And that could play very big dividends, and this is why. This is the Senate map right now after the 2020 election night. Republicans currently have 50 seats, Democrats have 48. Republicans are able to hold on to very tightly contested states in Maine and North Carolina, two states that I thought were very close, but I did actually think the Democrats were going to be able to win. Maybe North Carolina, but at least Maine. At least Maine for sure. But Republicans are able to hold on to Maine and Susan Collins and North Carolina, and now there's two seats left, both in Georgia, the David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler races, and this is why those seats are so important. 50 Republicans, 48. If David Perdue wins his seat, that technically gives the Republicans a one-seat majority in the House. That gives them a one-seat check on a Joe Biden presidency and a Joe Biden administration. That way, Kelly Loeffler could lose and Republicans still have the majority. Or, if Kelly Loeffler wins and the split ticket doesn't happen, and it's becoming more and more unlikely we're seeing split ticketing in a more polarized environment we're in. But if David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler win, now it's 52-48. Republicans technically lose one seat from the 2018 midterms to now. However, 52-48 is much better than 51-49 because at least you have an extra seat. That way, if a Collins, Murkowski, or Romney, if one of them breaks away, you still have an extra seat pad just in case. But the reason this is so important is this gives a bigger check on a Joe Biden presidency. If John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock are to come in, well, that gets them to 50-50. Now, a casual observer who doesn't know too much about how our political system works in the Senate would say, well, it's a 50-50 tie. Why does it matter? Because under a 50-50 tie, the Vice President of the United States breaks the ties for any Senate votes. And as of Monday, Joe Biden was just voted through the Electoral College to get 306 electoral votes, breaking the 270 barrier. So it's looking like Joe Biden will be the next president of the United States as he is president-elect, which also in turn means Kamala Harris will be the next vice president of the United States and vice president-elect. I mean, I've been saying this every video that unless something very drastically changes that I can't foresee happening, I just say that just to pretty much cover myself. But yeah, I'm assuming Harris and Biden become the next president and vice president. If the Democrats win these two seats in Georgia, this technically gives the Democrats the slimmest possible majority in the Senate with Kamala Harris breaking the ties. For Republicans, they either need to win or they lose. It's win or bust. Democrats, they need to win, and if they win, they have technically they have a tie slim majority. Republicans need to win at least one of the seats. Democrats need both. But if the Democrats win both seats, you heard Bernie Sanders say it a few days ago, it makes their job as Democratic-controlled Senate a lot easier if they have those two seats in Georgia. That's why Democrats are going very hard after these two seats. That's why Republicans and President Trump is going very hard after these two seats. All the big names from both political parties are going down there to Georgia to figuring out what they can do to help keep these two seats in their respective parties. This race is very close. I think it's a 1 to 2 point margin either way. I'll keep you guys updated in the days and weeks to come, but right now this is looking like a very interesting and very tough two Senate races going down in the peach state of Georgia. So that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video if you found this interesting. Make sure to leave a comment below telling me what you thought of the video and who you think is going to win these two Senate races. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.